Have you ever looked at someone maybe in their 70s or 80s and just thought, wow, where do they get that energy, that vitality?
Yeah, it's striking, isn't it? They often seem more vibrant than people decades younger.
Yeah.
It makes you ask, is it just luck? Or is there, a secret?
Exactly. Is there a kind of blueprint for that sustained health, that mental sharpness as the years go by?
Well, that's really what we're digging into today. Our sources for this deep dive point towards what we're calling 6 golden habits.
Okay.
And these aren't just vague suggestions. They're practices backed by some solid science, aimed at boosting your health, your energy, your mental clarity.
And potentially adding years to your life, right? I think the sources mentioned over a decade.
That's what the research suggests, yeah.
Yeah.
Significant impact.
What I find really compelling is that these habits, they aren't these huge, out-of-reach goals.
No, not at all.
They seem like simple, actionable things. Doesn't matter how old you are now or, your current fitness level, you can actually start doing these things.
Precisely. They're about integrating small changes that can dramatically improve your well-being. And stick around, because that 6th habit, it's foundational. Kind of a game changer, really.
All right, let's dive in. The first one might sound almost too simple, but the sources really emphasize its power. We're talking about taking regular walks.
It really is transformative, often underestimated. Walking isn't just moving your legs, it's actively reclaiming vitality. It helps preserve mobility, sharpens your mind.
Nurtures independence, too, I imagine.
Absolutely. It fosters well-being in a really fundamental way. Our sources are clear. This habit can genuinely reshape how we age.
And there's science behind it. I saw that Harvard Medical School study mention regular walking potentially reducing heart disease risk by up to 40%.
Yeah, that's a huge number, 40%. It strengthens the heart, improves circulation. It literally replenishes the body. You feel more alive.
It makes sense. You get the blood flowing.
And beyond the physical stuff, walking is also like an act of self-care. Well, whether you're strolling slowly or walking briskly, it encourages intention, resilience. It reminds you that you don't need some intense marathon training to build lasting health. Plus, endorphins.
The mood boosters.
Exactly. Elevates mood, relieves stress, makes you feel more vibrant.
And it's just so accessible. That's key, isn't it? Low impact, no expensive gear needed.
Right. You can literally just step out your door, start small, 5-10 minutes, walk around the block. That's enough to begin making a difference.
And those small steps add up, lowering risks for things like diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity.
Definitely. And think about the mental side, too. It could be like a moving meditation, time to clear your head, reflect.
Or make it social.
Yeah.
Walk with a friend, family.
Yeah. Share stories, have a laugh. It builds connection, wards off loneliness. Or, it can be your quiet time, just for you.
So every step is kind of an investment.
That's a great way to put it. An investment in a future with more vitality, more strength, more joy.
Okay, habit number 2 moves from our feet to our forks. Paying attention to diet. This isn't just about living longer, is it? It's about the quality of those years.
Exactly. It's about how vibrant and energetic you feel each day. What you eat directly fuels that.
The sources draw a pretty sharp contrast with, the modern diet. Convenience often wins out.
It does. We grab processed foods because they're easy, but they're often packed with unhealthy sugars, fats, artificial stuff.
Which actively harms us over time.
Right. It sets the stage for chronic diseases. Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. Plus inflammation, which seems linked to so many issues.
So the antidote is whole foods.
Pretty much. A diet rich in whole, nutrient-dense foods that supports everything, your bones, your brain, provides all those essential nutrients cells need to function well.
Think color, the sources say. Make your plate vibrant.
Yeah, like leafy greens for vitamins, heart health, berries, rich in antioxidants to fight inflammation, boost the immune system.
Yeah.
Things like sweet potatoes, cucumbers, hydrating, rejuvenating.
What about energy and strength?
Whole grains are your friend there. Quinoa, brown rice, oats, they provide slow-burning energy so you avoid those sugar crashes. And lean protein, of course.
Chicken, fish, beans, lentils.
Crucial for muscle repair and maintaining strength, which becomes even more important as we age.
And then there are healthy fats. The sources called them unsung heroes.
Yeah, I like that. Avocados, nuts, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon. They're packed with omega-3.
Which are good for the heart.
And the brain. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, support heart health, and offer real protection against cognitive decline. Super important.
It's also about what you don't eat, right?
Right.
Removing those processed foods helps avoid digestive issues, inflammation.
Accelerated aging, even things like brain fog, mood swings. Some sources link highly processed diets to a higher risk of cognitive issues like Alzheimer's down the line. So nourishing your body is really nourishing your mind too.
Makes sense. And we can't forget hydration.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Especially as we get older, that sense of thirst can sometimes diminish. But your body still needs water desperately.
Dehydration leads to fatigue, confusion, joint pain.
All things you can often avoid just by drinking enough water, herbal teas, maybe infused water. Just avoid those sugary drinks.
And the good news here, like with walking, is that you don't need to be perfect.
Not at all. Consistency over perfection. Small changes, swapping white bread for whole grain, reaching for fruit instead of a candy bar, they add up enormously. It empowers you.
Okay, so we've covered moving the body, fueling the body. Habit 3, keeping the mind active, a mental workout.
Exactly. Your brain, just like a muscle, needs regular exercise to stay sharp, alert, capable.
And if you neglect it, what happens?
Well, the risks are pretty clear. Memory lapses, that feeling of mental fog, and a higher chance of cognitive decline, potentially leading to conditions like dementia or Alzheimer's.
But the flip side is encouraging, engaging the mind actively.
It helps preserve clarity, improves problem-solving skills, and according to the sources, might even delay the onset of those cognitive conditions.
So maintaining sharpness well into your later years is actually possible.
It seems so, with consistent effort. And again, it doesn't have to be incredibly complex.
Like reading. That came up as a big one.
Absolutely. Novels, articles, blogs, whatever you enjoy. It stimulates the imagination, forces concentration, strengthens memory. It's a focused workout every time you immerse yourself.
What about games and puzzles? Crosswords, Sudoku, chess?
More than just passing time, they directly challenge your problem-solving abilities, enhance cognitive flexibility. You're literally building and strengthening neural connections.
And learning new things. That seems key too.
Hugely beneficial. Picking up an instrument, learning a language, trying painting, even mastering a new recipe.
Pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Forces the brain to form new pathways. Strengthens memory, concentration. The research is pretty consistent. Lifelong learners tend to experience less cognitive decline.
And social interaction. That counts as mental activity.
Definitely. Think about it. Conversation, sharing stories, debating ideas. It forces your brain to think on its feet, process information, listen actively.
It's like exercise for the brain. I think the sources mentioned socially active seniors might live longer too.
Yeah, potentially up to 50% longer, according to some studies cited. It's powerful stuff.
So the takeaway is to consciously build in these small habits daily.
Right. Reading, playing, learning, connecting. Each one contributes to keeping your brain engaged, vibrant, leading to a healthier, sharper life.
All right, habit number 4, strength training. Now, this one might feel a bit intimidating for some people.
Yeah, there's definitely a misconception that it's only for, bodybuilders or young athletes. But the sources really frame it as crucial for independence and resilience as you age.
Why specifically strength training?
Well, it directly fights something called sarcopenia.
Yeah.
That's the natural loss of muscle mass that happens as we get older.
Which makes everyday tasks harder.
Exactly. Carrying groceries, getting out of a chair, climbing stairs, it all gets tougher. But strength training can stop that decline, slow it down, even reverse it in some cases.
So it helps you maintain the strength you need for daily life.
Precisely. And importantly, it's not about lifting massive weights or pushing to exhaustion. It's about safe, sustainable ways to build strength.
That's good to hear. What about things like balance and bone health?
Oh, huge impact there. Strength training significantly improves balance and coordination, which is vital for preventing falls, a major risk as we age.
And stronger muscles support stronger bones, right?
Yes.
It reduces risk of osteoporosis, fractures.
Correct. Simple exercises work wonders. Light dumbbells, resistance bands, even bodyweight stuff like squats, leg lifts, wall push-ups, modified planks, all very accessible.
Things you can do at home.
Absolutely. And like walking, it has mental benefits too. Releases endorphins, helps reduce stress, anxiety, depression.
So again, consistency is the key, not necessarily intensity.
Exactly. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day done consistently is a fantastic investment in your body's future, keeping you independent, confident, able to enjoy life more fully.
Okay, shifting gears slightly for habit number 5. Keeping social ties strong. This one feels really important, but maybe gets overlooked sometimes.
Critically important, and yes, often overlooked. It's a massive factor in healthy aging, mental well-being, and just plain longevity.
The sources were pretty stark about the dangers of isolation.
They really were. Comparing it to smoking or chronic diseases in terms of health risks, it's not just about feeling lonely. Isolation measurably increases stress, weakens the immune system, can even speed up cognitive decline.
Wow, it really chips away at you.
It does. But the positive side is just as powerful. People who actively nurture social connections tend to live longer, stay mentally sharper, report being happier and more fulfilled.
Creates that sense of belonging.
Exactly. And while loneliness can be a challenge, especially as life circumstances change with age, it's not inevitable. It's something you can actively work on.
I like the example in the sources, Margaret, the 82-year-old.
Oh yeah, wonderful story. After losing her husband, she became withdrawn, but then made a conscious choice to join a community center, volunteer, meet new people.
And it reignited her joy, her purpose.
It really did. She says it's never too late to reconnect or build new friendships.
And back to the brain health point. Social interaction stimulates cognitive function.
Absolutely. Meaningful conversations, group activities, sharing experiences, it's all exercise for the brain, lowering dementia risk. Remember that statistic about socially active seniors living longer?
Right, up to 50% potentially.
It underscores the link. And today, technology helps bridge gaps too. Phone calls, video chats, online groups, powerful tools for staying connected.
So the message is, be intentional, reach out, prioritize those connections.
Yes, it's not just about avoiding loneliness. It's about actively enriching your life with joy, peace, happiness, making those golden years truly golden.
Okay, we've arrived at the sixth and final golden habit. And maybe it's the most foundational, yet, like you said, often pushed aside, getting quality sleep.
It really is foundational. We tend to treat it like a luxury, something we can cut back on when we're busy. But it's an absolute necessity for health and vitality.
Why is it so critical? What's happening when we sleep?
Well, that's when the body does its deep repair work. The immune system strengthens, memories get consolidated, profound healing happens.
And when we don't get enough,
It's not just about feeling tired the next day. Skipping on sleep leads to higher stress levels, a weaker immune system, higher blood pressure, cognitive issues, and even, according to the research, a shorter lifespan.
the impact on the brain seems particularly significant. The sources mention links to Alzheimer's.
Yes, chronic sleep deprivation is a major risk factor. During deep sleep, the brain actually clears out harmful toxins, including those beta amyloid plaques linked to dementia.
So if you're not sleeping enough, those toxins build up.
Exactly, leading to mental fog, memory problems, and long-term cognitive impairment. Good sleep is genuinely the cornerstone of mental clarity and brain health. It affects focus, learning, emotional regulation too.
And it goes beyond the brain, impacting physical health across the board.
Profoundly. Poor sleep is linked to higher risks of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, obesity. It messes with stress hormones like cortisol, hunger hormones, metabolism.
Okay, so it's clearly vital. What can people practically do to improve their sleep?
Aim for that sweet spot, 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Consistency is key. Try to stick to a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends.
And create a good sleep environment.
Definitely. A relaxing bedtime routine helps signal to your body it's time to wind down. Dim lights, maybe read a book, gentle stretching. Definitely avoid screens right before bed.
No scrolling in bed?
Exactly. And limit caffeine and heavy meals in the evening. Make sure your bedroom is cool, dark, and quiet.
What if your mind is racing?
That's common. Things like meditation, deep breathing exercises, or even journaling to get thoughts out of your head can really help calm the mind before sleep. At the end of the day, prioritizing sleep isn't selfish. It's a fundamental investment in your long-term health, your energy, your overall well-being. It lets you live not just longer, but better.
So that brings us through the 6 habits. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? From walking and diet.
To keeping the mind sharp, building strength, nurturing social ties, and finally getting that crucial sleep.
It paints a picture of aging not as a retreat, but as an opportunity to embrace each day with intention, with strength, with gratitude.
Absolutely. The habits you put in place today, the small choices you make, they really do shape the quality of your later years. They empower you to live with more purpose, energy, and genuine joy.
So as you're listening and reflecting on all this, maybe think about this. What one habit, just one, among these powerful strategies we've discussed, will you choose to start integrating into your life, maybe even starting today? What step will you take to unlock that vitality, that joy that might be more within reach than you realized?